Welcome back, sports fans. To continue my discussion about part 4 of The Last Dance and actually gravitating now into Monday's First Take, which Isiah Thomas appeared on, Isiah Thomas was talking about the dream team being left off of it, which we know he was. I'd always heard that prior to parts 3 and 4 of The Last Dance, that because Isiah Thomas froze Michael Jordan out of the '85 All-Star game, which for those of you who remember it, there's no doubt that he did, that was Isiah Thomas's payback for that. Now, from what's been discussed since that show aired, apparently Michael Jordan never said anything to Rod Thorne about keeping Isiah Thomas off the team, yet we know he was. But if Isiah Thomas, and we know he did it, froze Michael Jordan out of the '85 All-Star game, it's only fair that once Michael Jordan ascended the throne of being the best player of the NBA, though we know Isiah Thomas never was, that Isiah Thomas had some payback coming to him for doing that. And I still believe to this day, though nobody's mentioned it on ESPN, I believe that's exactly what happened. Whether Michael Jordan ever discussed it with anybody, I don't know. I would assume he did, but it doesn't mean it had to be Rod Thorne. But it is interesting that Chuck Daly, the Pistons head coach at that time, was the coach of the Dream Team, which I'd forgotten about. But it is something he did not, as far as I know, say anything about it, at least publicly. Although, be it, he tended to keep his thoughts to himself at that time, and Jack McCloskey resigned as commissioner or whatever his role was with the U.S. Olympic team at that time over this. But now fingers seem to be pointing that Magic Johnson actually was the one to keep Isiah Thomas off the team. The only thing about that is, if that's true, since Isiah Thomas and Magic Johnson at that time were extremely good friends, and for those of you who don't remember, they used to kiss before games, which drew criticism from certain people, including myself at the time. But I don't understand why Magic Johnson would do that if he did it. Isiah Thomas was good enough to be on the Dream Team. And while they're saying that James Worthy wasn't on it and Reggie Miller wasn't on it, well, at that time James Worthy was getting up there. Reggie Miller had not come into his own in the NBA as of yet. Anybody else that was mentioned is not a guard or a point guard especially. So to me, there is no reason why Isiah Thomas should have been left off the team. But he'd readily admitted that he was hurt by it, especially if it was because that Michael Jordan's hand was not shaken by any of the Pistons when the Pistons walked off the court. Well, we can't change the past, obviously, but it is food for thought, and I'm glad nowadays we have more sportsmanship in sports than obviously we had back then. It certainly didn't bring the Pistons into the best light whatsoever, and it only asserted the notion that people on the outside have, not only about the sports teams here, but about the city of Detroit itself. So, in the next segment, I will be discussing NASCAR and the changes that they're planning on making and the resumption of their season in 2020. Stay tuned on Sports with Ed on Ed's Sports Channel.